the Vice President of the Austrian Federal Economic Chamber, Ghana's Minister for Foreign Affairs and members of the Ghanaian delegation, Ghana's ambassador to Austria, the great Ivorian footballer, the great African footballer, Monsieur Didier Drogba, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm very grateful for the opportunity to deliver these brief remarks at the Africa Day celebration, taking place in this historic, beautiful city of Vienna. The organizers, the Austrian Federal Economic Chamber, are to be warmly applauded for this initiative, which is bringing today persons from all spheres of life who are interested in the growth and development of Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, the peoples of Europe and Africa have been dealing with each other from the beginnings of time. Our histories are intrinsically linked. There are tales told that stretch the imagination. There are incontestable physical proofs of the relationship dotted around both continents. There are painful and indelible memories, and they are the ones that bring smiles. At its narrowest point, only 15 kilometers separate Europe and Africa in the Strait of Gibraltar. Partly due to their close proximity, relations between the two continents have always been intertwined. Throughout history, the prosperity, stability, and security of one continent has directly affected the other. Nonetheless, we in Africa are agreed that we have to be self-reliant and shed the image of beggars living on charity, aid, and handouts, and make better and more intelligent use of our abundant natural resources in order to pull ourselves out of poverty and attain prosperity. These are not new aspirations. They have simply been reinforced by the lessons of the COVID-19 pandemic, whose effects have been worsened even further by the Russian invasion of Ukraine. We believe that a well-developed and prosperous Africa would be good not just for us in Africa, but also for you here in Austria and Europe. History teaches that a rich trading partner operating within a fair trading system brings prosperity to both sides far more than the exploitation of a poor partner. As it becomes clearer to all of us, the problems that face the world are more likely to be quickly resolved when we're all prosperous than when half the world is immersed in poverty. As you know, the continent of Africa is endowed with immense natural resources. We have every mineral that mankind lusts after, and which are required to run a modern economy. Our continent is in possession of 30% of the Earth's remaining mineral resources and 2/3 of the world's arable land. By 2050, the population of Africa will be 2.5 billion people, up from the 1.3 billion of today. It will mean that 1 in 4 persons on the planet will be an African. The prospects for Africa's greatness, if we act responsibly now, are limitless. However, as the saying goes, if you have been doing something for a long time and not getting the desired results, you have to find a different way of doing it. We have been largely dependent on the production and export of raw materials without any meaningful value addition processes, which is a continuing cause of our poverty. After 60-odd years of independence, it is obvious that the aid path will not take Africa to where she has to be. Africa does not want to be a scar on anybody's conscience. She does not want to be pitied. She does not want to be either a pawn or a victim. Africa no longer wants to be the default place to go to find the footage to illustrate famine stories. We no longer want to offer the justification for those who want to be rude and abusive about Africa and her peoples. During the latter part of the 20th century, the countries that made rapid economic strides were the ones that prioritized investment in education and skills training and encouraged high levels of investment in entrepreneurial development. The growth of more entrepreneurial economies in Africa will provide the basis for undertaking the urgent task of the structural transformation of African economies, which are largely dependent on the production and export of raw materials, to value-added industrial ones and stimulate agricultural productivity. This will accelerate economic growth, enable us to feed ourselves, and create jobs for our educated, empowered youth. A very important plank for the mutual prosperity I am advocating would be Austria's strong support for the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. The AFCFTA links 54 markets covering 1.3 billion people with a combined GDP of $3.5 trillion United States dollars into a single market. It is the world's largest free trade area outside of the World Trade Organization itself. Imagine the investment and business opportunities offered by the infrastructure required to link these markets more effectively. And imagine the business opportunities that this huge market would offer for manufacturing and service firms from Austria and other European countries that would establish production facilities in Africa to serve African and other markets. And with the accelerated growth that will result from all these, the market opportunities for exporters from European countries could be truly amazing. I'm here today to call for increased investment and trade between our two continents. Trade relations between us have evolved through history, and it is clear that a new paradigm has to be defined, which will be dependent on the structural transformation of the African and Ghanaian economies from raw material producing and exporting economies to value-adding industrializing ones. This will enable the countries on the continent, including Ghana, to trade at the high end of the global value chain, dealing in products we make and grow. Out of this, a robust trading system between Europe and Africa, Austria and Ghana will be created, which will generate mutual prosperity for the peoples of the two continents and countries. I want to assure anyone wanting to invest in Ghana and do business in Ghana that Ghana is a haven of peace, security, and stability. Indeed, the safest country in West Africa. Legitimate investments are protected. We are a country where the principles of democratic accountability and respect for the rule of law, individual liberties, and human rights are now firmly entrenched in our body politic, and where the separation of powers involving the operation of an independent judiciary is real in promoting accountable governance under the rule of law. We have resolved to build a progressive and prosperous country and are drawing inspiration from the success story of countries around the world. We've also decided to walk hand in hand with the private sector and the business community in this journey. That is why we've worked hard these past 3 years to turn the corner and return to the high periods of growth which characterized my first term in office, when we were consistently amongst the highest growing economies in the world. Our goal is to make our economy in Ghana the most business-friendly economy in Africa. It is an exciting time to be in Ghana and to do business in the country. And I would urge the business community in Austria to take advantage of the growing business-friendly climate in the country to invest in Ghana. You can choose to invest in Ghana through the Ghana Investment Promotion Center or set up a free zones enterprise. Regardless of where the investment is, government has instituted a number of incentives for the investor depending on the nature of the activity or the location of the investment. We are reviving the Africa Rising narrative, of which Ghana was the poster boy. We're determined this time to make it irreversible, and we welcome your contribution to this endeavor. I thank you for your attention.